What's bullin', nerds? We about to talk about some video games.
I like to get shit.
It's your boy Mike Dangerous, aka Tuxedo Flask, and this is Talking Shots.
I like to get
So chief, it's the return of the blade and slice shade, getting paid until my silhouette fades. A mercenary, spit the levy versus scary stage.
God, video games are something special, dude. Video games can do one thing that books, TV, movies can't do, and that's interact with the audience. Yeah, I know, like, there's choose your own adventure books and improv can be, like, pretty interactive, but not to the degree that video games are interactive. Agency is what separates video games from any other art form. Alright, let me unpack this real quick. Narrative is generally the backbone of most movies, books, TV, etc. If your story sucks, chances are your movie sucks. You're passively watching characters on screen, page, stage, whatever, doing things. That stuff, if done wrong, can be boring. Like, what are you really doing? In Banjo-Kazooie, the plot is literally save your sister from this green chick and collecting jiggies, dog. I'm figuring out how to trick this monkey into rewards. I'm looking for Jinjos. I'm learning new things to get to new places. All of a sudden, I forgot why I was doing all this in the first place. I was just enjoying doing All of a sudden, I forgot why I was doing all this in the first place. I was just enjoying the task at hand. Imagine when the story is good, though. The Legend of Zelda is one of my favorite game series of all time. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because of the way it tells its story differently.
The way it tells your story differently.
God, I'm not drunk. Most movies, books, TV, whatever, follow a 3-act structure. Setup, conflict, resolution. Pretty simple. Some may add more elements in between the 3 major beats, but overall, the setup is the same. Look, try it for yourself and you'll see what I mean. Watch any movie, read any book, they all follow a general 3-act structure. Video games, because of their length and overall interactive nature, don't have to follow this structure, per se. Let's look at a personal favorite of mine, for example. Majora's Mask is a game that, for all intents and purposes, has a very simple narrative. You play as Link, who, after leaving his hometown of Hyrule, finds himself in an alternate dimension called Termina. Termina is being terrorized by an imp wearing a cursed mask. He turns you into an imp yourself and steals your horse and all your belongings and leaves you to your own devices. Oh, also, the moon's falling in 3 days. So your job is to get your shit back and to stop the moon from destroying everything. What makes Majora's Mask so great isn't the conflict of the moon falling, but what that conflict does to you as a player. Majora's Mask has an entire living and breathing world filled with people with their own interests, schedules, and lives that you only have a 3-day window into. People who have all been cursed to some degree by the mask. It would be impossible to help everybody within the 3-day time span, so the game gives you the option to reset the 3-day cycle and go back to day 1. It gives you more time to stop the moon for sure, but it also resets any good you've done for the people of Termina. This is pretty heartbreaking because at some points you have to reset the timeline. One side quest, which is completely optional, is the Anju and Kafei side quest. How the fuck do you say these dudes' names? It warrants the player 2 crucial masks, but it also reunites an engaged couple. The quest takes the entire 3-day cycle right up until the final minutes, which forces you to reset the timeline, undoing everything that you've done with them, putting these 2 characters right back where they were in the middle of this crisis. And yet, you get to keep the masks as a reminder. And this side quest is totally optional, totally unnecessary to completing the main quest. You cannot do this in a movie. The idea that you, the player, made this relationship with these characters is something that you cannot replicate in any other medium. Even as games get more and more cinematic in nature, the idea of agency is still there throughout. BioShock is another good example. It lays its world-building elements throughout for the player to find as opposed to telling you directly. As games become more and more cinematic, it's the experience that the player has that defines the medium. Whether they're interactive movies or games that don't even have cutscenes, there's a reason video games are becoming more and more respected as a way to tell a story. And I'm excited to see just how creative games can get in the future. Do you think video games are genuinely a new way of expressing stories, or do you think I'm stupid for having these radical opinions? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. I'm your boy Mike Dangerous, and this is Talking Shop.